Good morning, everybody. Today is April 26th, and I am thrilled you're here with me on my usual Facebook morning at 9 a.m. broadcast. Today I have a special request. If you are the first one to comment, you'll get something special. So type in where you're joining me in from in comments, and the first one gets something special. I'm not going to tell you what. So there you go. So I want to see who's first while I'm waiting for it all to kick in. And I wanted to first just talk about, Stacy did. So Stacy.
Wow, you did it.
I love this can. I got this can back in Los Angeles probably 30 years ago, and I use it when I'm training because it's such a silly thing. It's aerosol positive statements, and unfortunately, don't make it anymore. Who knew? You would have thought somebody would have come out with that again. But it's a great training aid. But the rest, you can still join in and let me know where you're joining in from. So today we are. Well, at least in New York, we are, I think, 5 or 6 weeks into the shutdown. And, people are saying this is going to change everything. No one's going to shop in brick and mortar stores for, the rest of our lives. And there's no Santa Claus. And it's just this doom and gloom story. And I just want to remind you of a story that I've told on a lot of webinars and interviews lately. But I used to be the chief marketing officer of a little coffee franchise, was called It's a Grind Coffee. If you ever saw Showtime's Weeds, we were the coffee that Mary Louise Parker was drinking all the time. Yeah, that's a great conversation to have with your franchisees. It's great branding, a mom selling pot. It's a great exposure. Let's not go there. Anyway, but when it came to the start of a new year, we would tell franchisees, the first 2 weeks, I need you to cut your bakery down because people aren't going to eat it. And then the third week, I need you to double it. So invariably, I get calls in January. Hey, Bob, all of our bake is going stale. Yeah, we told you that. And then 3 weeks later, they'd say, hey, we're running out of our bakery. We told you that. We are creatures of habit. So we have to remind ourselves that, yes, right now, people are thinking twice about doing things. But once they get back in their usual routine, they're going to go back to their normal coffee house, their normal bookstore, and get that routine back. So don't listen to all of that it's never going to happen. But make no mistake, we aren't going to just turn a key and everything is fine. In fact, am working on a new follow-up course on reopening and how to rebuild trust for your customers. That'll probably be out in the next week. We're filming it now, and the steps that you can take that are going to be different than before we started this. But some people are thinking that, we just have to get open again. It's like, it's not a matter of being open. What has to happen is customers have to feel confident enough that they want to come in. And then the people who come in are going to have a different experience. I call it being cared for rather than waited on. And that's just a really big deal. And another thing I wanted to mention this morning is I've seen some of you have been like, oh, we're up 25% and, we're so great and it's all online and we should be doing more of this with curbside, particularly with some of the toy retailers and some other ones who are still able to function. And just make no mistake, part of the reason why you're so successful is Amazon was closed for several weeks and wasn't shipping out non-essential items like that, but they're shipping again. Number two is a lot of people got caught off guard. They had to come up with stuff. And so that was great. And number three is most of your competitors, other chances people could buy things, were locked out as well. So please don't start saying you're going to change your whole model that, you think curbside is the way forward. It will be something we'll have to have. But as a lot of you know who have furloughed employees, it usually ends up that the owner is the one having to fulfill orders and go crazy all night and be exhausted. And even in Target yesterday acknowledged that even though sales were up for them in March and April, their cost of fulfillment went through the roof. And they're actually saying that they're going to make less profit through the rest of the year. So I want you to just be very careful what you're saying about your business right now. It's an anomaly for some. And on the other side, those of you think that, oh my God, no one's coming back. Well, it's an anomaly because people can't come back. So I hope that helps. And make sure that your number one focus right now, as we are even entertaining the idea of reopening, is it's about your employees being safe. It has to be your employees being safe and thinking of the safeguards you're going to put in there for them to feel comfortable enough to come back to work. And so if you've watched my COVID-19 course, which you can still download, if you just go to retaildoc.com, you'll probably get the banner that says it, or I'll put the post in here a little bit later. And I went through 8 lessons there to tell you exactly what you should be doing. But the point is, you're going to have to adapt. You're going to have to find a new way to do things. And as you do them, some of the old are going to fall away. I got an email from one of my clients this week, and she said, now that we've got Sales RX, can I get rid of my old Sales RX, which, my first iteration, to show you how old it was, I actually had 3 DVDs and all these different ways, because I already knew in my heart that I couldn't be as many places as demand was going to be. And I had to come up with a way to get me out here. And the reason why I told her, yeah, you can get rid of this, is because I don't train like that anymore. I had to adapt and realize that online is where we're going. It's got to be 3 to 5 minutes, and it's got to be a way that people can get the information quickly. I can test them, I can certify them, and then we can go back through it. So it's the same thing for you. You're going to need to adapt, and there's going to be a lot of different ways. But thinking that you're just going to turn the key and everything's going to be better, I'm just telling you that that's probably not going to be reality. And I'm not here to be Voldemort, but I'm not here to be Pollyanna either, right? You got to do the work, and you got to find your way through it. So let's get to your questions, because that's why you're always here. You want to find out. I'd love you to give me some thumbs up, give me some love, because the Facebook algorithm is looking at this all the time, and it seems like you're liking my message. So if you like any of my messages that I give you each time, you can type it in here. That always makes me feel good, but more importantly, lets me know I'm a speaker, so I'm used to having people applaud, and when I don't get the applause, I'm needy. So anything you can tell me that I'm wonderful is great. Just had to get that in. Some of you think I have a big ego, and sometimes it's true. All right. Shella says, have you heard of any initiatives from businesses that have been working? Well, new initiatives. I mean, there are new ways to pay. There is text to pay that's coming through, I think, Podium and some other different ones. I think having Zoom appointment selling is a great way to do it, that you can go through and actually make appointments with your crew. If you get the Zoom, you can actually schedule it, have people confirm. Then in your confirmation, you tell them, make sure your camera is on, make sure your microphone is on. You actually have to tell them what to do there. And the other thing is follow up on all your leads with video. I've talked about that before also as well in the, see, Shelly, that was for you. I knew you'd like that. Virtual applause. Thanks, Carrie. See, you guys totally rock. I've talked about it in the COVID course too, about using BombBomb or Vidyard, where you can make a 30-second or 40-second video to talk to your customers, and not just say like, oh, hey, how's it going? That's worthless. Tell them something specific, or something specific about what they bought or something, but don't make it too general. Otherwise, you might as well just make one video and send it out to everybody, and that's not going to feel too great. So I hope that helps. Kathy, can you speak to the topic of Christmas is coming? Christmas is coming. This check. And how we need to have confidence in our trusted vendors for purchases for the fourth quarter. Yes is all I could say to that, Kathy. I think there's a lot of question marks around the fourth quarter, and, consumer demand and product selection and consumer trust is going to be key on all of that. So I would say, if you have, I'm assuming, Kathy, that you are a vendor, and I think it's up to you to make your retailers feel that they can trust you and that they're not going to be left short-handed. I know that one of the things when I talk to smaller retailers, they get really upset when they place orders and then the vendors go and cancel things or substitute things without letting them know, or they give the product to the bigger ones and they don't inform the smaller ones. And I think that's really a drag. So I hope that helps. Debbie, I believe that closing on time is very important to my employees. That's an interesting tact. It's important to your employees. Okay. I do not believe customers can dictate when I close. Your thoughts? This does feel like a rant is coming on, those of you who know me well. Yeah. First off, it's a small part of people, right? So not everybody's going to stay in your store late. And most of you are probably, when you open, are going to either be dictated to open with shorter hours or less employees. So understand that, again, that's going to impact things. But what concerns me is that attitude stems from the whole way you look at your business and you look at customers. Your employees are not more important than customers. Sorry, I don't buy that. And I think most people, every time I've worked retail and I've had people come in, especially the week of Christmas at 8:45 or 8:50, you're like, oh, for gosh sakes, and you think about that. And then you think of counting out the registers and doing all that. But those are all oral and visual cues like, get the hell out of my store. Let me make very clear here, Debbie, and to all of you, you are going to be reopening your store again. You are going to have to be that entrepreneur who started this however long ago it was, whether that was your mom 30 years ago, whether it was your grandparents 100 years ago, whether it was you and your partner 3 years ago. You are reopening your business. You are going to be glad that anybody walks in and says a word to you. You are going to be thrilled someone asks for directions. You're going to be glad someone takes 20 minutes of your time. So the idea that we're going to close and tell people like, hey, it's 9 o'clock, either get in or get out, I think is just so abhorrent. I can't imagine it. I guess I probably lost Debbie as a follower, but you have to look at, why do you go there? And are you listening to what your employees are saying or your customers? And if your customers are all coming in at closing, I doubt you're talking about being there at 9 o'clock at night. If you're closing at 5 or something, then maybe you need to look at expanding your hours or paying your employees to come in and they stay 15 minutes late. I always made sure my employees, we closed at 9, we paid them till 9:30 because you have to close and you have to vacuum and you're going to have to do all these things to straighten the store. I don't want my opening crew to do that. So I hope that helps. Myrna has kind of a long one. We have a custom frame shop to show customers are coming in. I want to show my appreciation for the support. I will upgrade their project to give them a discount. Before this, I would rarely discount. I love doing this and so appreciate their business. But going forward after lockdowns are over, I want to keep my normal pricing. Do you think this sets expectations that they will always get a discount? Yes, I think it trains you to feel like a fraud when you don't give that, because honestly, I think you don't believe in your product pricing, which is why you're able to do that. And now you've set yourself up for them to absolutely expect a discount. And now you've set yourself up for that really awful conversation, which is, oh yeah, sorry, I did that when we really needed the business, when we're really hurting. But now we're trying to move away from that. Doesn't work good for anybody. So I encourage you to consider, if you're going to do it, why, and if you're going to not do it, then why. But choose one lane or the other. You can't do both. And one thing I just wanted to make sure you all knew about here real quickly is my Hope for Retail project. Every day I pick a retailer, a big brand. Yes, it's a big brand, not a small mom and pop, because frankly, the big brands are the ones who are being battered about in the press right now. And why that's so important is the more people keep speculating who's going bankrupt, who's not going to be around, et cetera, the more it taints all of retail, which says that no one's going to buy, no one's buying, et cetera. And so I do this shout out, and I hope you follow it. It's on my YouTube channel. You can find them on LinkedIn, and I've now started broadcasting them here on Facebook, and I'll do one in about 2 hours on Ted Baker, actually, who I'm wearing today. So there you go. I will get to your questions. You guys have a lot of questions today, which is great. If you're just joining me, I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Please give me some thumbs up, give me some love so that I know that you're out there, and more importantly, that you appreciate what I'm doing. So there you go. Brandy says, how do you think this might influence design? That would be a long question for me to answer. Do you think that design elements might start going smaller as people might be feeling uncertain, or go with bright, loud designs to make a statement? So Brandy, what I wasn't quite sure of is, are you talking about clothing or are you talking about store design? Initially, I thought about store design, and I think this will absolutely affect store design. We'll have wider aisles. We will have more sanitation as part of just regular. I think most retail stores are going to end up moving more towards what restaurants have to do to keep cleanliness and improve it. I don't think that's a far reach, because even though COVID-19, fingers crossed, is on the wane in many places, the reality is these things are going to happen for the foreseeable future, just because they always have been there. And our response has to be, we're proactive. So do I think that people are going to go with bright and loud designs to make a statement? Well, I always go with bright and loud designs. So I don't know if that helps. Julie, I'm actually enjoying online and delivering in rural Iowa, excuse me. I'm considering reducing my open hours so I can be productive. Again, I think you're going to reducing your open hours for your convenience is never a good idea. Reducing your open hours so that there's, that you're following what customer demand is, I think that makes a lot of sense. But, if I go to a local store and I make that effort at 5 o'clock and you're closed, or you're closed on Tuesdays, and I think you're there all the time, realistically, what I'm probably going to do is either Google your local competitor, or I'm never coming back, or I'm going to go online. And I just think that's a dangerous one to go through. Boy, you have a lot of comments this morning. Amber says, negative comments on Facebook. I respond to everyone, even negative, with a general comment. Good, that's exactly what you should do. But what happens when it turns into rants? I have people I've never heard of commenting back and forth. The comments have nothing to do with the post. Is there a way to stop comments without fully taking down the post? Well, Amber, the easy way is you just delete those comments. And you don't think I have some of those people? My goodness, I made one comment, I think a year ago, and this guy just went off on me, and then he tried to go through and get his friends to pile on, and they did, and it's like delete, 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 delete. And it's like, it's my page, get the hell off. So I hope that helps. You can quote me on that, by the way. It might be a toaster cozy for a gift for Christmas. You might just like. Top fan Gary asks, good morning, Bob. No question, but I'm a men's clothing shop owner for 36 years in Northwestern Ohio. I grew up in Toledo till I was 10. That must be pretty close to you. My business is weddings, funerals, and proms. All are shut down. Exactly. Yeah, it's horrible. Last April sales were 84,000. This year, 6,000. And there's anything I can do to make it better. Exactly. Just get ready when the floodgates open. That's what I keep telling. I had 42 weddings booked in April, only lost 2. The rest were postponed to summer and fall. We'll be stronger and better. I just want to thank you. Dude, you rock. That's why you're top fan, Gary. I like that. So we like those stories. Exactly. People who do that revolved around proms, that is just a forgotten time. You're not going to go back to your senior prom in the fall, although that might be an interesting thing for you to try off. I don't know. But I appreciate that. That's nice to tell me. Thanks. Virginia, my shop is actually 2 suites on either side of a central hallway. Got it. That goes from the front door to a cafe in the back. Each side is narrow. Not possible to keep 6 feet apart. My only solution is try to limit the number of shoppers to 1 or 2, or take appointments. Do you think having restrictions on my customers, appointments required, or only so many at a time, or a sign that asks them to use hand sanitizer will actually impede business? Virginia, if anybody comes in, they're going to be looking for signs and exactly what you should do and how your store operates. So I don't think that's the case. I wouldn't worry about it. You might just consider making it a one-way through your store. It's going to be, we're all trying to figure it out. Even the big boys are figuring out, some states have already started opening, and the big boys aren't opening yet because they say, we don't know what the procedures look like. Are we supposed to sanitize everything? What's the proper way? I'm in my blog I'm writing tonight about how you have to change the dialogue, which I hope you'll read tonight, about the doom and gloom. It starts with you guys. I was reading how Marriott has come up with a new cleaning way that they're going to disinfect every hotel room right after it, and they show the machine they're using. So I think malls are trying to figure that out. I think apparel retailers, and the more those big boys figure it out, I would certainly say adopt whatever they are doing. Big boys and big girls. Say, let's make sure that we get them all together. Again, if you're just joining me, give me some thumbs up, give me some love, because I am here for you today, and you have a lot of questions over there, but I want to get through the people who commented on Saturday night for me. Gina, have you noticed diminished following on Facebook? I suspect people are staying off social media because they're trying to avoid bad news. Gina, actually, Facebook is rocking it because everybody's on Facebook. Facebook just rolled out Messenger groups, if you don't know that, where you can actually do like Zoom meetings through Facebook Messenger, where if you, even whether they're on Facebook or not, they just rolled it out on Friday, so you can Google it and just look at it, but it's their shot at Zoom. I think that people are looking to connect in Facebook in many ways. I know many of you have talked about how you've used Facebook Live in different ways, how you've been able to find people in new ways and use custom audiences in some of those new ways. So I haven't noticed that. The one thing I will tell you, Gina, is if you're not going to boost your post, or if you don't if your post isn't good enough and you don't see that, this post is getting 90% better traction than any other post on your page, you should boost it. If you don't see those very often on your page, it means that your followers don't really care that much about what you're saying. So change your tactic. It's not that we got in this widget, you should buy it, it's 2 for 1, or any of that kind of stuff. You should go through and just make sure that you're more compelling in it. Okay, top fan Amy says, PPP came through, strategy to utilize 75% towards payroll when shelter-in-place mode is present. Well, there's no easy answers here, Amy, but I have several people who've signed up for my online training, Sales RX, for one reason, because one, that they consider that as part of their training. And if you're going to hire them, I'm going to pay them to do better. Some people resist that and focus on, what am I going to have them do? Training is the most important thing you can do. Training isn't something you did. Training is something we do. So you can then follow up every lesson and have a Zoom interaction with them, and you pay them based on that. And if they have to go back through it 2 or 3 times, you do it, and you make sure when you reopen, you're a different business. I could see one of our best Sales RX users on here with us today, and she was talking about how she had something happen last year. Sales were down 85%. She just not down 85%. They were like down 15%. She got her manager together. They brainstormed and said, what the hell aren't we on Sales RX again? They went back into it, really dedicated themselves to it, and they ended up like 10% over last year. And she said it was amazing, and that's all we changed. Well, yes, because unless you change the lens and say it's about selling the merch and creating a great customer service, you get caught up in the task. Oh, how many widgets did we sell? We have to do an inventory in this. We need to transfer this. That's not what makes you money. What makes you money is converting lookers to buyers and being able to have the dialogue that says, why not buy it today? And being able to build enough rapport that you know that this woman just moved to town. She has 3 little boys. She wants to end up starting her own clothing site, and she needs a machine, et cetera, et cetera. But if you start off with, can I help you find a sewing machine? It's like, you're not even in the ballpark anymore because you're not caring for them. You are in the asked and answered retail. And I'm telling you, that is not where we're going to make money for the rest of the year, for the next decade, because you know where I go for asked and answered? Online. I hope that helps. A little mini rant for Sharon and some of the rest of you. But other things you can do is, you can pay them to call your best customers. You can ask if they feel comfortable coming in 2 people at a time. Ultimately, this is free money, and this is the time you build culture, and you build an attitude to selling, and you build an attitude to doing better. Otherwise, it's like, oh, I've got this money. What do I do? Well, for God's sake, if you're an entrepreneur, this is what you should be thinking about every night instead of watching Game of Thrones or some tiger guy on Netflix and then talking about it, or worse, getting on one of your private association billboards. Oh, it sucks to be us. Let me share you. This guy came and he called. It's like, doesn't help you. Why are you doing that? All right, so there you go. I have 2 more, and then I've got some of yours. Top fan Amy says, my very good manager has asthma, so feel a need to protect her going forward when customers are in the store. It's a resort community, so people come in from all over. Amy, the one thing I would say is you have her sign a waiver no matter what, that she is coming in at her. She understands the risk, and if she wants to have an N95 mask, and I know they're et cetera, they're in demand for healthcare workers, but realistically, that's what I would do. Frank Prescott, we have to close our women's boutique temporarily since we have enough cash through the end of May. We'll be able to sell through a website. How do we tell customers that we'll find a smaller space this fall? I just think you've got to get everybody's email and get on social, and I'm not quite sure you have the money to close in May, but then you're going to reopen in the fall. That usually costs money to do a new space. So I'm not quite sure there, Frank, but the key is holding on to people who are there and know that, and also understand that when you move out of your local, whatever your place is, your landlord is probably going to put somebody else who sells something similar in there. And how are you going to feel when you drive by there? And if you don't hold on to every customer and be able to help them. So the key is get all their information and then be able to contact with them every 2 weeks at least until you find that place. Amber, did I miss what you're using for your Facebook Lives? What software? Amber, I'm using this company. It's got a duck in it. What's it called? StreamYard. And do not get the cheap version, which is what I did the first time, because then it puts a duck on all of your videos. But what I liked about them is it's really simple to set up, and then you can put your own branding in it, and it's got your name under there, which I really like. So I hope that helps. Now I'm going to scroll back to my goodness, 217 comments. All right, well, this will go quick because most of you are just saying hi. So, hi. Hey, Ralph, great to see you on your retirement. That's great. Heidi, glad you're there. Debbie, cheesehead out there, thanks very much for joining us. Matthew, hey, I'm glad you're there. They'll be back. I guarantee you that. Leonie, you're still in Western Australia. I think you're still the farthest one from there. Travis, good morning from South Carolina. Thanks for doing these updates. Always good. Travis, you rock. I needed to hear that. Thanks very much. Kathy, hello from our tree farm. Struggling over ordering for Christmas season. To what extent do I worry about merchandise sales and inventory that might be left until 2021? Kathy, again, here's what's going to happen. Either of two things. So you're either going to get your Christmas trees and all your ornaments, and people aren't going to buy it, or people are going to be looking for it, and you're going to be out of stock. So which one hurts more, and then plan for it. So I think that reality is I would certainly plan on a 20% reduction in your holiday. If I was you, all of you, I would expect that and buy that way. And you know what? If you're wrong, you can always come back. But the hard thing is not making these hard adjustments, as I said at the beginning, adapting and then working from it. I think that's just a smart way to go. Selwyn, what is the mix of online and in-store sales going forward as we should open next week, I think is what you're saying. That depends on everybody's business. You know, some of you have held off doing an online business. You say, oh, I don't need it. Well, that time is gone because everybody needs an online. And the reason you need an online business is so your customers can order from you. It's not that you're going to take on Amazon. It's not going to be that. It's that people have a way of doing it, because if you do, then you can have shoppable posts on Instagram, shoppable posts in Facebook. You could do a lot. But without that connection to the payment system, you're trying to write down people's credit cards and all of that, which is highly suspicious. You don't want to be doing that at all, because now you've got somebody's credit card information, and did you get rid of it in the right way? And that's right. Selwyn, I already said that. Amy, we wrote all of our fall Christmas orders in January. Operate in a resort community, so our entire year depends on the success of June through August. Thinking we need to delay shipment and sacrifice term specials. I would absolutely say that, Amy. We are in the throes of who knows what. So I would absolutely cut your inventory to prepare so that you're not on the hook for merchandise that may arrive late, or it may arrive after you need it. So there you go. Yeah, most of you are saying you don't shoo people out. That's great. LaDonna from Port Leash, I'm so glad you're here. It must be late at night over there. Say hi to Allison. You two rock. And tune in for my story about Ted Baker, because I'm going to share that in a couple hours with mention of Dublin. So there you go. Hey, Northwest Buyers Group, the #1 independent men's clothier group, is watching this morning. Awesome, guys, gals, men, women, all of you. That's perfect. Jill, a good offshoot is going to be, we had a chance to get solid about procedures. We've been telling our team that now we're responding one-to-one to our bank as our effective goal achievement and how it relates to performance. It's all about performance. Hallie, it's my page. Get the hell off, Bob. Thank you. Again, a t-shirt or something would be perfect, or a hat, maybe across a mask. Maybe that would be the next one I can do. I don't know. That's good. Cynthia, getting back to videos to use to reach out to customers. What's the best way, and use any tips? I've never done a video to post on Instagram or Facebook. I'm a storefront vintage antique jewelry. So Cynthia, the most people would say, I think that's always funny when somebody forwarded me a news article the other day. It was one of these doom and gloom ones, and it was like, some people say, and this guy who is this, but he's not going on the record. I was like, this is worthless. Why are you sharing this to me? Some people say, I don't care what some people say. Who said it? Get the hell off my page. All right. So they'll hold up a thing and say, we got this thing in, and it's this, and it does this, and it's $5 off if you buy it with this code. That's not really nearly as good as, we have this thing. And you might wonder what this thing. So you're an antique jewelry. So this is a brooch. A lot of people don't know how to wear a brooch. And so what I want to go over is 3 reasons why you need to wear a brooch. And whether it's this one or not, there's really protocol that you may not know. And so you're going to go through and say, what's it about? Might talk about in a Zoom meeting. Where do they put it the right way? Where do they go through and do it? Do they shine it up? Can they wear it on a dress later on? Should there be a story behind it? Whatever it's going to be. Now it's interesting. And now you have what? A story. You'll see that's why I always teach on my Facebook pages. I always try to have a story so that you're at least interested at the start before I get into ranting and saying, get the hell off my page. So I hope that helps. Gary, I'm 100 miles south of Toledo, right off I-75. Okay, awesome. Catherine Morse, what's the name of your training program again? All right, I want to see, would somebody type that into comments? You know what the name of it is. What's the name of my sales training program? Actually, you just go to salesrx.com. It's right there. It's SalesRx, although it doesn't look like that anymore. We have 110 lessons in SalesRx. Some of you joined me when I had only 20, and I think we have become the complete area for training, even though there's others out there who are derivative. I think you will find that the original is the one that makes the difference. Love your program, Jenny. That's great to hear. Carrie, I have 11 employees, would like to have a meeting with them. What's the best free way? Well, you can do it on Zoom or do it on, again, do Facebook Messenger. It's open right now. You can do that right now. Go and take a look at it. Michael liked the spray. So Michael, because I gave you one shout out because you've made it all the way 30 minutes.
You get a gold star.
Nice. When do I think markets are going to start opening again? The markets aren't going to open until the hotels are able to open. That's the number one thing you're looking at. With tourism down 92%, I think you would expect that markets are probably not going to be, well, I don't want to say anything bad, but I can't imagine them opening until at least October, if not January. Okay. Yeah, like a spray gun. That's exactly it. Christine, do I think people will browse or make appointments to come into a shoe shop? I think either one. I think the important thing is what I would be looking at is you're going to have free try-on socks because you're not going to ever have those. We've all seen those containers where all the try-on socks are, and you'd wash them once a month or something. People aren't going to stand for that. So either build it into your sales process or encourage people to bring their own socks or something like that. Have fun with it. But I think make it possible. I'd say absolutely. If people want to come in and do personal appointments, absolutely make it. Why not? The whole thing we're going to be looking at is what is convenient to the customer, not to you. And that's kind of the whole thing. Again, Kathy, make sure you put cancel dates on all orders if you're concerned about it arriving past your sales target. I totally agree. Joanne, I just started opening up appointments for customers to shop in store one person at a time. Exactly. It's the one thing that you have to remember is customers are out there wanting to shop again. And when you open, there's going to be a groundswell of support, and that's going to make you feel great for that first week. But notice it's going to be work, just like your first few days when you open your store, to get people to come back again and again and to buy more. And that's why you do have to get back to sales training, and you have to get back to creating an exceptional experience, not, hi, can I help you find something? Yes, I'm looking for a widget. Do you have this widget? Yes, we have the widget right over here. Let me take you to it. Here's the widget. Anything else? No, that's it. I rock. I deserve $15, $20 an hour. You suck. You don't deserve anything like that. I could have a robot do that. What I need is someone who ends up finding out about that widget. Oh, how are you going to use that widget? Oh, actually, well, I'm making a porch. Oh, great. Do you have all your stuff? Well, no, I'm just starting the project. Oh, well, let's see where you are in the project, and then maybe I can make some suggestions to make it better. Does that sound good? Absolutely. And then you build the basket, and now you've got a $300 sale instead of the one widget sale. That's really the key. Hey, Denise, thanks for joining me from China. Now you've replaced Leonie. You are the farthest along of anyone that joined us today. Billy, free socks if you try on shoes. Find the cheapest you can and give them. Exactly. Well, with that in mind, this is the longest Facebook Live I have ever done. I appreciate all those love and thoughts and all your little comments. That's great. I appreciate it. I think the key is to remind yourself that you have to gird your loins and find a way to be hopeful every day. You do not have the luxury of a negative thought. With that, I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. You can check me out at retaildoc.com. Also provide questions to me on Saturday nights when I at least get, if I get at least 5 on Saturday night, then I will go through and I'll do a video like this next Sunday. And make sure you tune in a couple hours when I do my Hope for Retail on Ted Baker. Each day I'll do a different one, and you can find them all up on YouTube right now. Do good work, and remember, you don't have the luxury of a negative thought. In hope, I'm fearless.